Okay, Be'ezat Hashem, we're starting Daf Ayin Dalet, Perek Ketzat Zolin. The Mishnah says, Ketzat Zolin et HaPesach. Now that we slaughtered the Korban Pesach, we have to know how to roast it. Mevi'in Shepud Shel Rimon. We bring a skewer of Rimon wood from the Rimon tree. V'tochavo l'toch piv, and you stick it through its mouth. Ad bet nekubato, till it's whole. V'noten et kira'av ve'et bnei me'av letocho, and you put the, I think kira'av means the knees, right? And it's insides, because when you cut it open, right, you took out all the intestines and you wash them, you clean them. Now they're not part of it. You got to put them back in order to roast it. So the Rabbi Yossi Hagilili says you put them back into the stomach cavity, and then you roast it.
They don't go on with the emorim, the insides?
Not the stomachs, only the what's it called, only the halabim going. Right? ונותן את קרעיו ואת בני מאב לתוכו, דברי רבי יוסי הגלילי. Rabbi Akiva אומר, Rabbi Akiva says, Kimim bishul uze. If you do that, it's like cooking, because it's like in a pot and it's cooking the juices that come out. Ela tolin chutzalo. You put them on the stick outside of the Korban Pesach. So the Korban Pesach is down there. On top of it, you put the kira'av and the bnei me'ayin.
So you're saying inside would not be salim.
Right. And tolin et ha-Pesach lo ala shepud v'lo ala askila. I thought we just said you use a shpud shel rimon. So Rashi explains that this ala shpud means ala shpud shel matechet and ala askila shel matechet. And we'll see why. Amar Rabbi Sadok, Maaseh b'Rabban Gamliel, she'amar leTevi Abdo, say go, v'tzaleh lanu et ha-Pesach ala askila. Go roast us the Korban Pesach on a grill. Look in Rashi. Keitzad Tzolin, Sheput Shel Rimon, Ta'ama Mefaresh B'Gemara. The Gemara is going to explain why Rimon. V'noten et Kera'av, K'dechtiv Tzili Esh, Rosho al Kera'av. Kulo ke'echad mashma, all in one piece. Kimim bishul uzeh, Shemevashel B'nei Me'av B'tocho, Kemo B'toch HaKedera. When it's inside the cavity of the animal, it's like cooking in a pot. Ela tolin chutzalot, tohavan b'shpud, you stick them on the skewer, lemala mipiv shel taleh, on top of the mouth of the animal. Lo ala shpud, so what kind of shpud can you use? Shel barzel, if it's made from metal. Why? Kedem mefaresh b'gemara, the Gemara is going to explain, shamateche keshemetchamem ekzato metchamem kulo. When metal gets hot, part of it, it's a conductor, so the heat travels through the whole thing. So the outside's going to get hot and the heat's going to travel to the inside. So it's going to heat up the inside of the Korban Pesach, not for the fire directly, but from the metal. So the Korban Pesach is getting roasted from something else. It has to be roasted. Here's okay. It has to be roasted by the fire. Got one? Okay. Askila, grials. I guess it's a grill. Vekulo hata'ama. It's all the same reason, because the grill gets heated and then it will heat it without the fire. So Safot says, why is it that they stick? I have to get graphic, but if you wanted to stick the stick, I would stick it from the back to the front, because especially in those days, it seems like they used to hang it in cartoons. When you see them roasting the whole sheep, it's sideways, right? The sheep sideways, right? But in those days, it seemed that they would put it down, facing down. So you need, the bottom of the stick is thicker, and that holds the item up.
Shawarma.
Like shawarma, exactly. So shawarma is catch. It's just pieces of meat. This is the whole animal.
No.
I'm saying, so it's got to be held by those. So I would stick it up behind.
Where's the fire comes from?
Around it. But I would stick it up the behind to the top, and you probably got like a tighter fit than in the mouth. But Tosafot says, Omer ri mishum hachi tohavo derech piv. You have to put the thicker part down. So then the neck which is cut would be down. The kadayif dama derech sham, and the blood drips out, and you don't
Why,
have a problem
they
with
roast it vertically? They don't roast it horizontally?
That seems the way they did it. That's why I told you, in all the cartoons that you saw, it was all horizontally. You see that's the way they used to do it. U'mishalshelin et ha'pesach letoch ha'tanur. They lower it into the oven. We had that in Shabbat. Erev Shabbat im hashecha. Right? Lower it into the oven. Okay. Says the Gemara. V'niti shel matechet. What are you making the guy crazy to go find the shpud? Go get a metal one. Idi the ham miktato ham kulo. By metal, part of it gets hot. The whole thing gets hot. The kamatve, and it's roasting mehamata shepud from the skewer. V'rahamana amar sili esh velo sili mehamata varaher. Has to be from metal, not from something else. Says the Gemara, v'neiti shel dekel. Why don't you bring a palm tree skewer? I did the itle shive. I did the itle shive mefik maya. The dekel one is in like different stages. Goes up in with bars across it. Look at Rashi. She'asui shurot shurot. It's in rows. So mehalchele aydi shive mafik maya. Water comes out. The way it's made, the way it's set up, the shpud of Rimon, water winds up coming out from the breaks in the wood. So then you're adding water into the mix. It's like it's cooking. Says the Gemara, "V'neiti shel te'ena," bring from a fig tree. So I did the mehalhel because it's like hollowish. Mafik maya v'avelekim mevashil. Rashi says mehalhel. Kill mitzvot. Mehalhel. Mafik maya, water comes out, and it's like cooking. Says Gemara, v'neiti shel. Rashi says mechalchel ke'et shel arava v'shel gosh yesh lahem moach b'fnim. They have like a filling inside. V'neiti shel alon shel haruv v'shel shekma. Bring from an alon. Rashi says it's a hard tree. Yushna shuka. What is it, like a oak tree? Alon. Right? Shel haruv is carob tree. The shel shekma is, we said, sycamore. So we say, I did eat the kitre. Those trees have knots in them. You see, you have no knot in the tree. So what happens when you have the knot? You can't stick it up. I did eat the kitre mafik maya. So Rashi says, I did eat the kitre. It has these knots. Ubay lemish. Inhu bisakina. So you have to smooth it out first. Mafik maya derech mekom hatach hasakin. So where you cut it, now it has a cut. Now the water it's going to come out from there. Davle pesach mevushal. Says the Gemara, Rimon nami it bekitre. The Rimon tree also gets knots, so you're going to have to smooth it, and water is going to come out and be mevushal. Says the Gemara, she'e kitre. Its knots are smooth. Rashi, ve'en tzarich lavir sakin aleim. It gets knots, but they stay smooth. V'iba'it ema. Another answer, ve'nagva barshata delet bekitre. Rashi, neti'a bat shenata, that it doesn't have any knots in it. Ve'ha'ika be'piske. At some point you cut it.
What are these knots?
The knots, when you get a knot, you get a bump. So you can't use it as a skewer if it has a bump. So you're going to have to smooth it down in order to make it. When you cut it, now there's a hole in the tree, so all the moisture in that piece is going to come out from there. With a shoot of a year old, it's very very young. That didn't have time to develop knots yet. Where it's cut on the bottom, water will come out. So we answered the mafik lebe piske lebar. You leave the place where you cut outside of it. Now I don't know what the answer is, but Haber, why are you allowed to chop down this limon tree? Isn't it lo tashchit et etzah?
Probably not completely.
Because I'm not chopping the whole thing.
Could take down a branch or two.
I'm allowed to take down a branch of the tree.
I don't understand. Everything has moistness to it. Even the Raymond, as long as it's not dry. If it's dry, then it's gonna.
Yeah, but no, that's what he's telling you. Everything has moisture, but the moisture is going to come out from the cut. So the limon is smooth with no cuts along the whole length that's inside the animal. So the moisture will come out by the bottom where you cut it, or the top where you cut it. Mashenk and all the other ones, they either have vertical lines or they have knots where you cut it and then it's going to come out from there. Whereas the limon, they were able to figure out that the water.
Isn't the stick going to burn out?
No.
It's moist, and it's covered by the animal. It's covered by the animal. You never used wood skewers on a barbecue?
Saying never did it from the bottom.
Plus, there's juice dripping the whole time. It's keeping it. Matnitin the look Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda. Here you go, Albert. The Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Keshem shesheput shel etz eno nisraf. Hey, you're putting it on a wood thing, it doesn't burn. Why? Because it's keeping it cool. Kach sheput shematechet eno martiach. So too I assume, says Rabbi Yehuda, that the metal shput is not going to get so hot and it's not going to heat it up inside.
That's not true because you have some sticking out.
Amrulo, there's stuff sticking up on the wood too. Amrulo, ze hamikzato hamkulo. By the metal, if part of it gets hot, actually, sorry. The Yehuda says just like the wood on the inside of the Korban Pesach doesn't burn, so too the metal is not going to be hot. Amrulo, no, ze hamikzato hamkulo. The metal, when it gets hot outside, it will transfer the heat to the inside. Veze hamikzato eno hamkulo. By the limon, the outside doesn't transfer the heat to the inside. Anyway, Rashi, keshem shashput shel ayet keshetolin oto betanur, when you hang it in the oven. Umechuse betlet, covered by the sheep. And mashe betoch hataleh nisraf, what's inside doesn't get burned. Shataleh magin alav, the sheep protects it. Kach sheput shel matechet, so too the metal skewer. And mashe betoch hataleh martiach mehamat hom miksato hayotze chutlatem, it doesn't get hot because of the little bit that's sticking out. Amrulo, they told him, Afal pish and penimi shel etz nitzraf. Even though the inside of the wood doesn't get burned, Afal penimi shel matech and martiach, the inside of the metal will. Shezeh shel etz hamiksato lo hamkulo. The wood, when it's hot a little bit, it doesn't get all the way hot. The aval etz liesh, so what's the rest of it is cooked by the fire. Vezeh shel matech, the metal one hamiksato hamkulo. If part of it is hot, the whole thing is hot. Even what's covered. It's getting roasted by the shpud. He thought to bring a proof. He says, look, how come that's not burning? Because the fire doesn't get there, so the fire is not getting to the shpud either. It's hard to understand, right? Right? That's Rabbi Ishmael's opinion. Tanya, we learn, Rabbi Ishmael korehu toch toch. Rabbi Tarfon korehu gedi mekulas. Look at Rashi. Rabbi Ishmael korehu toch toch. De noten lo tochos virale. He held like Rabbi Yossi HaGilili. Ukshemartichin umetpashlim betocho. When you put it inside and it starts to get hot, nishma kol retihatam. Toch toch kekol asir. You hear blah blah blah.
Like the beats.
Like the beats. What, the beats make that noise?
Don't they say that it's good when it goes toch toch, but it's not?
Ah, right. The avi toch toch. Right.
Yeah.
The avi toch toch. That's in berachot. That's a long. Look at that. Lashon acher. Katuv besfarim yishanim. Tichbar. Lashon toch ubar. Kilomar memule bebifnim v'nir'eh mibachutz. So what? You put it inside, but you were able to see it outside. Tochbar. The way we stuff chickens and goats. Can't tell you what he did. V'dugma gabe Avigail. Hamesh son asuyot. Umetargemin an hamesh a'an tachbarinin. Mishum Rabbi Klunimus said the pshat. Okay. Rabbi Tarfon koreo gedi mekulash. Rashi. Lashon kova nechoshet. That's a term of a copper helmet. The metargemin and kulsa de nochsha. the sfira le tolin lemala mimenu, like Rabbi Akiva. When it in kekova nehoshet al rosh gibor, it looks like a helmet. When you put the stomachs on top of the animal, it looks like he's wearing a helmet. Gedi mikulas, a gedi with a helmet.
Where's okay?
Like Rabbi Akiva. You don't put it inside, you put it on the top.
On the head.
No, because Rabbi Akiva holds you can't put the meat inside the stomach because it's like
upside
cooking.
down, or it's
No, it's head down, but
head down.
when you put it on, it looked like that. So now he said upside down, Gedi mikulas, okay?
So you put it on the top, or you put it on the bottom?
Just bottom.
You put it on the top.
Which winds up being the bottom?
On the behind, you put the.
Yeah. You put it on top of the l'chaura, you put it on top of the neck. Unless you put it on top of the bottom, but I'm not sure. Rashi said, Chutza lo lemala mipiv.
Oh, so on top of the head.
Okay, Tanu Rabbanan. Ezeu gedi mikulas de'asu le'echol belele Pesach bezman hazeh. Right? We said tudus ish Romi he'echil b'nei Romi gedi mikulas belel Pesach. Shalchu lo el maleh tudus ata gozan yalecha nidui. Right? Shata kema'achil kadashim b'chutz. Right? So you see that you're not allowed to eat, whether it's in makom she'ochlim tzli or not, you're not allowed to eat gedi mikulas. Why? Because that's mamash the way they did the Korban Pesach. So we say, ezeo gedi mikulas de'asu le'echol belele Pesach bizman hazeh kol shetzilao kulo kehad. You roasted all whole. Nechtach mimenu ever. If you chopped off one piece, nishlak mimenu ever, or you cooked one piece, en ze gedi mikulas. That's not a gedi mikulas. So even though you're roasting 3/4 of the gedi, it won't be a gedi mikulas because Korban Pesach you would roast the whole thing whole. Rashi, ezeu gedi mikulas. The Tanam beperek makom shenagu she'asu le'echol tzli ve'arvei pesachim b'makom hazeh b'makom shelo nahagu. What does Rashi call that for? L'chaora, that's not at all what we need. L'chaora, we need even in a place where we eat tzli, you're not allowed to eat gedi mikulas. Kol shetzuleu kulo ke'achad, says Rashi, dedami lePesach, v'nereh ke'ochel kadashim b'chutz la'aretz. Says the Gemara. Hashta yesh lomar nechtach mimenu ever, ve'af al gav dekamat pileh behadeh. Amar lo nishlak mivai. Says if you chopped off a piece and you put it on the skewer and you're roasting it together, you tell me it's not gedi mikulas. If you chopped off the piece and you put it in the pot, of course it's not gedi mikulas. So how are you cooking the piece? You chopped it off, you put it in the pot, right? So what's nechtach mimenu ever that's not mevushal? That I'm roasting it here, right? So if chopped off and roasting here, right, is not gedi mikulas, chopped off and cooking in a pot. You know, on the barbecue they have that little thing next to it. If you put it in, so it's, for sure it's not gedi mikulas. It's in a pot. Says the Gemara, no. Again, hashta yesh lomar nechtach mimenu ever. Da'af al gav dekamat pileh behadeh, is roasting it together. Amar lo, you say that's not considered gedi mikulas. Nishlak mibaya. Amar Rav Sheshat sheshalko b'mchubar. Case is he took the animal and he stuck one arm in the pot, connected to the animal, and he cooked it. Now he's roasting the animal whole, but one leg was already cooked. That's also not considered gedi mikulas. Because the fact that this is cooked is mochiach that it's not ke'en Pesach. Because on a Pesach you would never do that.
That's how you get around.
Yeah. Rashi nishlach mi baya kasal kadaitin tenechtach, you chopped it off hada nishlach u'mishah shehatacho kodem kliyato tula v'mikulas. Amar Rabbi.
So really, it's still connected.
What?
So really, the answer is that it's still connected. The answer is it's still connected to the animal,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
and you.
Yes. Yes. Amar Rabba.
Is the fact that we're saying that you can't eat it, that it looks like a mikulas on Pesach, is that a support for the holding that that's the way you're supposed to do it, mikulas, as opposed to inside?
No, that's Mustama, that's a Mishnah like Rabbi Akiva. I don't know. Maybe. Amar Rabba, Hai Mulyata Sharia. Rashi, Mulyata, in Ladura Belad. כמו שאנו ממלאים התלאים והתרנגולים בבשר לעצמות. Like we put meat in the meat inside the chicken or inside the gedi. When you have a chicken, right, the whole inside is hollow. It's a waste of space. So you take rice, that's for aniyim, Jack. We take meat and we stuff it inside.
The meat is a problem with the kosher today, right? So we put rice.
Right? So you take the whole inside of the chicken and stuff it with meat. Hai mulyata sharia. It's mutar. Even though the blood from the inside meat is going to come through the chicken. So you'll say that the chicken should be asur. Because when you're roasting the chicken, the blood is going to come out of the meat and get absorbed into the outside. Sharia Rashi, va'afilu shebi lo malchu et habasar shenotnim letocho mutar. Even if they didn't salt the meat that they put inside, va'afilu malchokim lichatzli. Even if you salt it a little bit, like you do for roasting. The ibe milicha kol tzorech lekedera. If you salted it all the way, pshita. Now, why do we salt meat?
To get the blood out.
To get the blood out. The Torah says you're not allowed to eat dam. So when we salt the meat, if you watch when they salt, you'll see blood start dripping out of the meat all over the place. Right? So we assume that the salting for the right amount of time takes out all the blood that's going to come out. And now when you cook it, the blood is not going to come out. And be'emet. If you cook meat that wasn't salted, it's very good. I saw my own eyes. One time in Israel, at Rosh Hashanah, we went and we got tongue. So over here, you never bought any meat in your life that wasn't salted. Everything comes soaked and salted, right? Kimat is not a place. I went to the shuk, I went to Mahane Yehuda, went to the butcher, I said, you have the tongue? I went 2 weeks before because you have to get him early. I called me and my wife. I called up my grandma, we got the recipe, had to do it. Looking at it, something wrong. Looked bloody. I went back to the butcher. I said, "Yaya maluch." He said, "Lo, amarti lecha sheze lo maluch." He didn't tell me nothing. He didn't tell me nothing. We had to throw out the pot. We had to throw out the frozen. Okay.
If you barbecue, you don't need to know.
Right. If you barbecue, you don't. So we say normally we salt it. We salt it to get out of what's called. By roasting, we say that the fire draws out all the blood even stronger than salt. So Rashi says,
silly, even though it's inside the animal.
So if I take a steak that's not salted and I roast it, no problem. Whatever blood comes out, into the barbecue. But now, you have this. What's coming out is going to go into the meat. So maybe that's a problem.
Because the blood goes down the fire.
On a regular steak, but over here it's the chicken
stay there.
in the pot. Aywa. But more than that. The roasting takes out all the blood, so afterwards I could cook it.
Right.
If it was just the fact that it came out, you would say, okay, it came out, but I can't cook it after. No, we assume that roasting takes out all the blood like salting. We'll see that coming up now. Right? So he say, Hai mulyata sharia. Amar le Abaye, Amar ale Abaye. Beha Kabbalah dama. The outside is going to absorb meat. Rashi. Beha Kabbalah hatale dama yotzim min habasar hakanus betocho. Amar le, he told him, Kebul'a kach polta. The way it goes in, it will go out.
So the outside is being salted, right?
The outside is roasted too. So the outside, the blood is going to go straight through. It's going to come in one side, come out the other side. Kibul all kachpolto.
But we say that it comes out.
It doesn't go nowhere. Stay there.
No skin on the chicken.
It goes out through the skin once in a while. Neima Rashi polto lahutz v'sho'avo hom ha'ur. The heat of the fire will pull it out. Neima misayayalei. Let's bring a proof to Rabbi. Notenet kira'av et b'nei me'av letocho. You put the feet and the insides inside. My ta'amah. Lav mishum. What about the blood? They're insulted. Lav mishum da'abrinan kibol okach polto. Isn't that the reason why it's okay? So Amri. So they answer no. Shani hatam by the Korban Pesach Even the ika beta shechita, the mechalchel made of dayi, because the beshechita is down, so the blood goes in and then it drips out through the beta shechita. But in a regular chicken that you're roasting up or whatever, it's not going to happen like that. Rashi, made of dayi, lefish shenechle betanur, upi beta shechita lemata, hadan yotze derech halal atzavar. It doesn't even go in; it drips out from the neck. Shekorim portzila v'shoteh derech beta shechita. Neima misayei alei. Let's bring a proof. Halev kor'o umotzi et damo. When you have a heart of the animal, you want to eat it, so you have to cut it open, let all the four or whatever the cavities in the heart to let the blood out. Lo kira'o, if he didn't slice it open and he roasted it already, kor'o le'achar bishulo, you can rip it open after you roast it. Rashi.
I don't think so, no?
You have to salt chicken?
Of course you have to salt chicken.
Anything will go.
So also this applies to the chicken hearts? You have to cut it in.
Sama. Lahar bishulo. Comes like then you had chicken hearts. You have Yerushalmi. You made it yourself? No.
No, in the restaurant.
Okay, so.
I don't think it was cut. It's big.
What would you know? It's roasted.
That's not ma'ale.
מעלה צליות.
לבבות.
זה כאילו...
Chicken ma'ale is not chicken hearts.
לא, לבבות.
לא, פיל עדי.
A lot of blood, right?
It's all blood.
I never ate it. You have to speak to these
That's
people.
why you cook it and you... That's why you cook it and you... Zola, you do it. Zola, can you just cook it? You do both. You have to cook it and...
Right? So we say...
The best thing, Rabbi.
Albert, let's get the hand.
I'm trying to eat.
I know, but Eli won.
The heart of the chicken.
They make it.
The only evidence is the chicken.
Huh?
Maybe you don't make it.
I think you got it.
I'll eat.
Yeah?
Gotta get it under the table.
Working.
Only had it on the table.
All the organs got...
You know
You have to have connections.
where it's coming from.
The team is good. The hodl.
It's very light, but it's not a heavy light. It's not heavy too.
That guy parties probably. You ever ate by that guy? Partis?
It's very hard to get organ meat over here.
You ever had in your life?
Okay, let's go. Halev kor'o motzi damo. So Rashi says, lo kira'o kor'o la'achar bishulo, kasal kadaitin, we thought, la'achar bishulo tzli kamar. It means after it was roasted as sali. The tzli nami kari bishul. Tzli is also called bishul. Kedichtivi divrei yamim, like it says in divrei yamim, vayvashelu et hapesach be'esh, vayvashelu hapesach ba'esh. It's bishul, it's not ba'esh. Ella, you see that tzli is also called bishul.
You need both, bishul and esh, no?
What?
Maybe you're saying both, bishul and esh, both of them?
No. Ba'esh. The bishul was ba'esh, in the fire. See, and it's a pesach. Clearly, it was tzli. So we thought, kor'o le'achar bishulo, after you roasted the mutar. My ta'ama. Why is that mutar? All the blood that was in the heart was cooked in it. Lam mishum da'amrinan kibolo kach polto. Is that the reason? Not because we say the way it went in, it came out on the other side because the fire pulls it straight through. Says what? L'chatchila, you cut it.
You have a cooked piece of meat here, and then you burn, and then you roast it. It'll come out.
No. Rashi's saying, even though it says bishulo, it doesn't mean bishul. It means the ahar tzliyato. After they roasted it. Why? Same sivara like Rabbi said. What's the difference if you start off with dam be'ayin inside, that's going to pull out, or if you're starting with dam that comes out of the meat, that's going to come out? Ma'ala mishum davninu kibalo kach bolto. Says Gemara, no. Shani lev deshia.
Doesn't absorb.
It's very smooth. Because it's smooth, it doesn't absorb. Rashi, deshia velo bala. Va'afilu bekederana mishari. Even if you would cook it, it would be mutar. Va'avgav de lekel emema kach polto. So now,
So according to Rashi, now he switches positions. That Bishula is not after sleep.
Right.
Once we're talking about
In the Havamina, the reason was Kibbolot Kapoto, it's only going to be if it's sleep. But now that we're talking about, because it's Shia, even by Bishul it would be Mutar.
So why do you have to cut it if it's lo bala?
What? Lechatchila, you have to cut it. You shouldn't be so mech on it. Plus, if you're cooking it in a pot, the lev will be mutar. Everything else in the pot is going to be asur.
Well, you have to cut it so the blood comes out, otherwise it's still inside.
You know what he's saying? What's the difference? Even if I cook it, it's going to be mutar. The pot becomes asur. Yeah. Only the lev didn't absorb. Says the Gemara, Veha Rabin. Hagala. Veha Rabin Saba. Tafle Hahu Bar Gozala Lerav. You're telling me Kibbolot Kach Bolto. Rabin Saba, Tafle Hahu Bar Gozala. He took a gozal, a type of a bird, and he surrounded it with dough. With dough. The Amarle, he did it for Rav, and he brought it to him, he roasted it. The Amarle, if the outside, if the dough is good, Havli give me ve'echol and I'll eat it. What does he mean if it's good? Rashi, im yesh tam yafeh balechem, Havli ve'echol. It's a proof to Rabba. That what? That why is it mutar? Kibbolot kapoto. It just goes straight through the bread and it comes out. Says Gemara, no. Hahu bismida de mafrir. That dough was made with smeed. Smeed is a thicker type of flour, so it's crumbly, and therefore the what's it called will come out. The blood will go through. There's a lot of room for it to go out. Mashenken, something that's not as crumbly, like meat. Maybe it won't go through.
So the Havamina was to compare the dough to the meat?
Yeah, what's the difference? It goes through. No, it goes through. Clearly it's going through. But because it's crumbly, there's more spaces. Rava got to Resh Giluta's house. Look at Rashi, Bismida.
He wants you to taste the bread first?
No. That was Stam. That's coming later. Right, ואין הנדבקת כל כך, ונפרחם מאליה והאדם יוצא ממנה. דמפרור לשון פירורים.
You have to put eggs, Rabbi, to get
The Rambam talks about eggs. We'll see. Right? Veha Rava ikla lebe Resh Giluta. Rava got to Resh Giluta's house.
You have KFC, don't you?
Rava got to Resh Giluta's house. No audio.
It's amazing. Use it today. It's too.
Veha Rava ikla lebe Resh Giluta. Rava got to Resh Giluta's house. V'taflu le bar avza. And they dowed him a bar avza also. Jack is getting hungry. Amar, he said.
Early, but still good.
He said, "Ilo de hazite de zig kezuza hibara lo achli mineh." Says if I didn't see that it was clean, like no the zig, it was clear.
So
the zig kezuza hibara lo achli mineh. Rashi, if I didn't see that it was clear like glass, lashon zechuchit levana v'tzalul mar'eh, which is what the mohala basar shezav balechem, the juice that was coming out was clear. Lo achli mineh, I wouldn't eat it. Why not? V'isal kadaytach kibbolot kach polto. If you think you could say kibbolot kach polto. What's the difference if it's clear, the water dripping? Even if the water is not clear, it's going to come out. Says the Gemara, Hatam bechivrata desharir. Chivrata, Rashi says, bechivrata kemach lavan, kemach nekiya ke'en shelanu. It's white flour. She'ena solid. It's not solid, which is thicker. It's fine. So it gets hard. Because it gets hard, the stuff can't get out of it. Tesharir kashe ve'eno polto. Ve'ilchita. This mida, if the tefillah is made of smeed, ben asmik, ben lo asmik, sharia. Whether it's got red, whether it didn't get red, it's mutar. Rashi, this mida, the amar le'el de mafrid ben asmik. If the juice in the dough is red, whether it's not red, the shari. Shadam vaday yatsa. The meat, the blood went out. It's not really blood. It's meat juice.
It's good tasting juice.
Izag kezu. Sorry. If it's made from fine flour, izag kezuza chivara. If it's clear like a white coin, shariat mutar. Ilo, if not, asir. The shar kemachim, other flowers, then it depends. Asmik asur, lo asmik shari. If it turned red, it's asur. If it didn't turn red, it's mutar. Hai mulyata. Go back to the mulyata that we said. Man de asar, the one that says it's asur. Afilu puma letahat. Even if the mouth is down, it's asur. Chaurat, difficult. What does he do with the Mishnah? Hare the Mishnah we said it's mutar because the beta shechita is dying. Says Tosfot, Avagav damrin aleil shani beta shechita de mechalchel v'shari. It's mutar Avagav de lo amrinan kebolo kach boto shani hatam shahala rahav biyote. It's very very big opening. V'lo dami lepuma de mulyata. The opening de mulyata is much more narrow. Uman de shari, the one that says it's mutar, he says it's mutar because of kebolo kachboto. Afilu puma le'el, even if the opening is up. Ve'ilcheta mulyata sharia, va'afilu puma le'el, even if the mouth is up, because we say kebolo kachboto. Go straight through Rashi. Kishi tiluya betanur. Va'avagav.
It doesn't matter if it's upside down or not.
Doesn't make a difference. Va'avagav de'achshav. En nekev latzet adam shari.
Why do we enter that?
That's the mahloket. Do I say like this or like that? It's because there's a hole. It's because kibolot kachbolto. We hold it shari, even if there's no nekev. Right? Kibolot besara hitzon kachbolto. V'choma ur, the heat of the fire shavo, it brings it in. Umtza be'i umizrike. Umtza is raw meat. Be'i is eggs. Mizrike is the certain blood vessels in the neck of the animal. Lucky Rashi. Umtza, Rashi says umtza de asmi. If you have red meat, raw meat that turns redder. Chatichat basar ish kantura belav. Safuk dam, it's soaked with blood. V'chem betzeh zachar. If you have the testicle, the asmik that turns red. Some say it doesn't have to turn red. We'll see. V'chen mizreke hutin gasin shehen v'ridin shebebet hashchita. There's certain blood vessels in the neck. Tosfot says by be'i, v'chen be'i pirish bekontris the asmiku that they turned red. U'bechinam pirish ken mishum de pirish rabenu hananel the ika alayu karma. There's like there's a membrane on top of them. The asur mishum dama. That has a lot of blood in it that has to be cut open. Hey karmu havu, there's 5 membranes that are asur, and 3 are asur. Some are blood and some are helev. The be'i, the one that's on the testicles, mishum dama, because it has blood in it. So he says it's without getting red, it's a problem. So we say, pligi ba, those 3 things, umtza, be'i, umizrike, pligi ba ravaha ve'ravina, ravaha and ravina argue. Bekola Torah kula. In the whole Torah, when these 2 rabbis, Ravina, Rav Aha and Ravina argue, Rav Aha lechumra and Ravina lekula. Always Rav Aha is mahmir and Ravina is mekel. Ve'ilcheta ke Ravina lekula. The halacha is always like Ravina to be mekel. Lebar mehani tlat, except for these 3 halachot. Te Rav Aha lekula and Ravina lechumra. In these 3 halachot, Rav Aha is mekel and Ravina is mahmir. V'ilcheta ke Rav Aha lekula. The halacha is like Rav Aha to be mekel. Always lekula. Hai umtza de asmi. If you have meat that turns redder. Hatche umalche. So then we know that there's blood around. Hatche umalche. If he chopped it and he salted it, filu lekedera shari. It's mutar even for to cook it. Why? Because we assume that the salting got out whatever blood had already come to the surface.
It's dry. It's not.
The halacha is like this. The halacha is that you're allowed to eat raw meat, even though there's blood in it. The blood is mutar as long as it didn't move from its place. As long as it stays where it was when you made the shechita, it's mutar. What happens when you cook is that the blood moves. Now it's out of its place. Now it became asur, and it didn't leave because it stayed in the pot. It stayed in the mix. So it's asur. This umtza de asmik, you can't even eat it raw. Why? Because clearly the blood already moved. But if you make the milicha will get out all the blood. And afilu the kedera shari. It's mutar even to cook.
Which is לחתוך, just means shati ne'erev, or לחתוך לגמרי?
I don't know.
We don't cut the whole meat, we get the blood out.
No, it could be this one is different, but I'm not sure exactly what the definition of chatche is.
This is applying to any type of meat, no? Regular raw meat.
They asked me. Regular raw meat you could eat without doing this.
Waiting for it to turn red.
No, without doing anything. You eat it raw. This you can't eat raw. You have to salt it.
Okay, we show you see blood.
Right. So now, hatcheu malchem afilu lekedera shari. It's mutar. Rashi says chatichot harbe. You have to chop it a lot. Shafteh b'shipuda, if you put it on a skewer, shari. Why? Made of da'iv.
Drips.
It drips down and it becomes mutar. Achte agumre. Let's say he wants to cook the meat directly on the coals. Pligi bar of Haber avina. That's a machlok between of Haber avina. Had asar v'had shari. One says it's asur, one says it's mutar. Man de asar, the one that says it's asur, mitzmat tzamit. It's gonna shrivel the blood inside. It's not gonna go out. And since it's already out of its place, it's asur. Uman de shari, the one that says it's mutar, meishav shaiv. He holds at the heat, and the fire will pull it out. The ilchita meishav shaiv, it will pull it out, like we said likula. The chen be'i, the betzim, chatchinu malchinu. If you sliced either the betzim that turned red or the krum on top of it, afilu lekedera sharian. It's mutar even to cook them. Talinu b'shipuda. If he put him on a skewer, sharian de mutar. Why? Made of da'iv, it will drip out. Achtinu agumre, if he put him directly on the coals, pligi bar Haber avina. Had asar v'had shari. Man de asar mitzvah tzamit. It gets stuck inside. Uman de shari, the one that says it's mutar, meishav sha'iv, it will draw it out. V'chen mizrike. The same thing with the blood vessels. Chatche or malche. If he sliced them and he salted them, so the blood comes out. Afilu lekedera shari. Talyeh b'shipuda. If he put him on a skewer. Beta shechita letatai. With the beta shechita down shari, it's mutar. Why? Made of dye. Achte agumre. If he put it on the coals. Pligi bar of Haber avina. Had asar v'chad shari. Man de asar mitzmat samit. It will congeal inside. Uman de shari meishav shaiv. It will draw it out. V'chita meishav shaiv. It will draw it out. Hai umtza de asmik. So if you have two ways to read it here, but whatever. The chaura means hai umtza, this raw meat. So there's another way to keep the blood from coming out. It's called, you can put it in vinegar, and the vinegar is an astringent, and it closes up the blood vessels, and the blood won't come out. So now hai umtza, you have the raw meat.
So when you take a bite, doesn't the blood come out?
No.
Where does it go?
You have to worry about it. Hai umtza da asmik halyeh. If the vinegar turned red, asir, then the vinegar is asur. Lo asmik halyeh. If the vinegar didn't turn red, shari, then it's mutar. The vinegar is mutar. Ravina Amar, Ravina says, afilu lo asmik nami. Even if the vinegar didn't turn red, halyeh asur, the vinegar is asur. Iyevshar delet beshurya kedama. It's impossible that some blood, some little pieces of blood didn't get in there. Amar le mor baramema le Rav Ashi. Abba megamea le gemue. My father would drink the vinegar. Ika de Amri. Rav Ashi gufa. Megemua megama le gemue. He would swallow. Kanere he held it is mutar. Amar le mor bar amemar le Rav Ashi. Abba hay hala de halidve. If he had vinegar that he used to to stop up the blood so it shouldn't come out anymore. Hadazimna, if he did it one time, tulo tani halitbe. He wouldn't do it again. He wouldn't use it again. Maishana mehala matmaha. So why is it different than weak vinegar? Weak vinegar you use, right? The haltinam be that we use. Hatam ita lekihu de pera be'enayu. The sharpness of the fruit is still there. Hachaleta lekihu de peri be'ene. Over here, whatever sharpness is there was used up. Rashi ta'ama pri omed bo. Shelo tziu mimenu klum. V'afal pishu chlash me'elav, even though it got weaker, v'nit kalkel ta'amo motzi dam. It will take out the blood. Shechol koho b'kirbo. Hachaleta lekihu de peri be'ena. Shebal'utz li arishon.
So this is you don't have to salt if you use vinegar? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Finish?
Yes.
Not you.